Well, the G7 summit has wrapped, and Canada and India have agreed to begin a reset when it comes to diplomatic ties, this after months of hostility.
And it's a testament to the importance of your country, to your leadership, and to the importance of the issues that we look to tackle together.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met on the sidelines of the G7 summit, where they agreed to designate new high commissioners and restore diplomatic services to citizens in both countries, a first step. This follows an ongoing RCMP investigation into allegations as the Indian government was linked to the murder of a Sikh Canadian. So for a closer look at the agreement and the G7 summit overall, I'm joined this morning by Robert Fife, Ottawa Bureau Chief for the Globe and Mail. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
First of all, this relationship was so fractured. We have an RCMP investigation. We have accused them of foreign interference in 2 elections. What will Canada have to concede in order to fulfill this diplomatic goal of renewed ties and relationship with India?
Well, I don't know what Canada really has to do because from the Canadian perspective, we should be demanding that the Modi government cough up the Indian agents who were responsible for the hiring of hitmen to kill Hardeep Najjar in 2023. And it's not, India is not just implicated in that murder, it's implicated in other murders and extortion plots. So this is a very, very serious issue. Even on the day of the meeting with Mr. Modi, I got a hold of a CSIS report, annual report, which will actually be released today, that says very bluntly that India remains a persistent foreign interference threat to this country. It hires, it tries to influence the South Asian community. It is not adverse to trying to influence politicians or buy off politicians, as well as trying to strong-arm tactics against members of the community. So the Prime Minister really does have a need to explain Canadians why he's doing this. I think you and I understand why he's doing this. We're trying to diversify trade away from the United States, and India is a huge market, and that's what he's trying to do. But, you know, it certainly upset many members of the South Asian community, particularly the Sikh community, who are very upset about this, but also people who are human rights activists.
And those groups in particular, the latter that you mentioned, are concerned of a blind eye being turned to what some of the things you've just mentioned. As an update for everybody, where does the current investigation stand right now?
Well, we really don't know. The RCMP have already charged 4 people. They're holding other investigations. We hear that the security people and the police are talking with Indian authorities about trying to get the culprits behind, the masterminds, if I say, behind this murder and other plots in Canada. But it looks like it's not going anywhere. The Americans also went after the Indians over an attempt to kill an American Canadian in the United States, but that plot was foiled by the FBI. So, I mean, I guess the best we may get out of this is a commitment from the Modi government that they will stop this kind of transnational repression, where they use hired people or their own agents to carry out, you know, threats or assassinations, in particularly in democratic countries. I think that's the best we're going to hope to get out of this. And I think what you're seeing from Mr. Carney is that he's a practitioner of real politics. Yes, this is a very serious issue, what India has done, but Canada can't ignore the fact for geopolitical reasons and for trade reasons, we have to deal with this country. And certainly that, I think, is probably a relief to the business community, which had been wanting to see relations, as difficult as they were, try to be semi-restored so that we can get back to trying to open up that market for Canadian businesses.
This was a jam-packed summit, complicated further by escalations in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. Overall, Bob, what did Canada achieve? Where does this land us globally as we look to make new security and trade relationships? Where are we sitting?
Well, look, I think Prime Minister Carney, and I've been on a lot of these kind of summits, he handled himself very well. You could see the leaders had a great deal of respect for him. I mean, he's a serious guy. These G7 summits are not, all summits really are not moments where you're going to get major deals. But the fact of the matter is that they, from Canada's perspective, the most important thing and actually is that he got along with President Trump. Even though the president left earlier, there wasn't any kind of a blow up that we saw in 2018 when he went after Prime Minister Trudeau. Mr. Carney's whole goal is to try to keep the president on side because we have hugely important negotiations in the next 30 days to reach a trade deal. The leaders agreed to they condemned Iran. They made agreements on critical minerals, on transnational repression, on AI, and those kinds of things. But these are just an opportunity, really, for the world, the democratic leaders of the world, to get together and talk about issues and to form issues that are of significant importance to the world, but also to bond amongst themselves so that, you know, when a crisis happens, they can pick up the phone and they know the person personally. And sometimes personal relations can make a big difference.
Does it matter that President Trump, you know, one of the key figures in those diplomatic relations you were talking about, bounced early?
You know, probably from the view of Prime Minister Carney and the other leaders, it was probably a good thing, because yesterday was a day that would have probably set him off because they were talking about Ukraine and Russia. And they were also talking about Iran. But you know, he's all over the map when it comes to Ukraine, and you could see him, and President Zelensky was there as well. So you could see him potentially flying off the handle and causing a big disturbance there. So I think they were probably happy to see him go, although nobody will ever say that publicly.
That's why we have you here. Bob Fife, Ottawa Bureau Chief for the Globe and Mail. Thanks for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.